as well. Okay. What character do you take in Crossverse?
Wait, I'm looking through this guy. I want to see if I want to take him or not.
Okay. I'll put my character in the chat. Yo, hello?
Yo,
What character you're taking?
I'm looking with. Give me like 3 more seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said what?
Yeah, I'll just take Gojo.
Okay. I can start scaling first.
What would you say?
I can start scaling first.
Alright, cool.
Okay. The character can has absolute attack. Do you disagree?
Absolute what?
Attack.
I don't know what absolute attack is.
So basically, given the description, it is impossible for the target to use any defensive concept or the physical, mental, or conceptual to defend against the weapon.
Including such concepts as physical barriers, mental isolation, and conceptual inheritance. Because weapon denies concepts themselves, even the concept of resisting an attack does not exist, and it's impossible for the target to persist regardless of their stamina. Similarly, all supernatural forms of persistence are also impossible, including transference, time reversal, recurrence, and inheritance. Because conceptual denial conforms to the verdict procedures dictated by the Great Court, any future concepts that employ supralegal methods will also be denied immediately upon appearance. In addition, when the red key forms a complete barrier, no concept of evasion can succeed either. Defense is impossible, evasion is impossible, persistence is impossible. The ultimate conceptual weapon is the embodiment of these 3 impossibilities. Strict screening by the Great Court of Heaven is required for the usage of the red key. Because of this very act of dispatching, Lanor, who arms herself with it, is equivalent to the death sentence. In this world, Senator Lambda Delta has placed restrictions on its use and power.
So what?
So wait, this is the red key that they're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And what character uses it?
You said what?
What character uses it?
Delanor. You don't disagree?
No, I'm just looking in the series.
Okay.
Wait, what's the topic?
Crossverse.
Alright, you hot birthday.
Fuck up, bitch. Bro, who is this in chat?
Yo, can y'all unlock general chat, bro?
Oh yeah, this nigga don't got fucking.
Oh, it's agility. Okay, that makes sense.
I can't type in general for some reason.
Hold on. Let me see if this shit works. Hold on. I can you do it now? Can you see now?
I can't.
Bro, trying to fucking vote some fucking cut. Hold on. Let me see if I can add a permission to view channels.
Can y'all ban this nigga for being gay?
You still can't see, nigga?
Yo, can someone ban this faggot in chat, bro?
But you still can't see shit.
So yeah, I can type now. I see.
Wait, so is the idea that if she tries to attack, that they wouldn't be able to resist it?
But you still can't see?
You said what?
So is the idea that if they try to attack, if she tries to attack, that they would be able to dodge it, they wouldn't be able to defend against it? Is that the idea?
Yeah, because seemingly the assessment, my assessment is corresponding to what the scan is saying. Because they directly say that if you try to persist against the attack, it will be negated. So yes.
Okay, and so what in the series, everybody that's tried to resist against the attack has been unable to.
You said what?
In the series, everybody that's tried to resist the attack has been able to.
Where are you saying? Let me. Can you like form the question in a different? I don't know. What are you talking about?
If there's an instance in the series of her using the attack, and there's an individual that's able to resist the attack, do you think that would not contradict what's being said here?
Well, obviously the individuals can't.
Yeah, but that wasn't an answer to my question.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't answer to your question. You're just asking me, well, is there a permutation or showing of the ability that a character specifically resists against the attack? Well, no, because the character can't resist against it.
No. What I asked you was, if I show you an instance, or if there is an instance where a character does resist the attack, that would disprove what you're saying, no?
Yeah, obviously that would be a contradiction.
Okay, cool. Then give me like 2 minutes.
So let me get it straight. The counter argument or the counter response is there's an ability in the verse that goes against the ability.
Wait 1 sec.
Is that? Can you answer yes or no?
I'm reading something. Where?
Okay.
See, you fucking bitch.
Okay, wait. So look, I'm reading from the wiki, and it says, Truth, special moves utilized in debates between witches and humans taking place in the meta world, being statements denoted by specific colors, which often manifest as conceptual weapons that directly target the enemy's very existence in an attempt to deny it, and are thus impossible to physically avoid, forcing opponents to counter the attacker's arguments with another truth. As the damage dealt by the truth is conceptual rather than strictly physical, they completely bypass conventional durability and allow Beatrice to skewer and even kill opponents much more powerful than herself.
You said the wiki?
Yeah, this is what the wiki says, yeah.
Okay, question. Do you have a source material that's connected to the scan I sent? That's like evident in the actual series itself?
Okay, wait, so what you're asking me for now is like whether the wiki corresponds.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, give me more time then.
And there are tropes in fiction where a character just has absolute defense.
The law.
And I hope you do realize that absolute attack versus absolute defense is a paradox. But obviously, the attack can't bypass the defense, and defense can't bypass the attack.
Yeah, so there's a contradiction there.
No, it's not a contradiction.
A paradox is by definition a contradiction.
Okay, you're not getting my point. The point I'm making is that within the frame of reference, absolute attack is specifically indexed to. It's indexed to things that can defend themselves against X. Obviously, this thing in essence, well, although it is a defense, cannot be altered or changed. You're not changing anything. It wouldn't even be within that same frame of reference.
I don't know what that means. Look, I mean, the question that I asked you, the question that I asked you.
So you can't cry, like you can't say like, wait, I wasn't even done.
Okay, I mean, you weren't answering my question, but sure, go ahead.
I'll answer your question after, bro. Listen.
Okay, so like the question I asked you at the very beginning.
It wouldn't even be considered a thing, bro. Like you're doing it again. It wouldn't even be considered a thing within a frame of reference. The description or what that thing is descriptive of is conveying or going over.
Okay, so like the question that I asked.
Attack, obviously, you're saying the character attack cannot be bypassed. But we say absolute defense. You're saying the defense themselves cannot be bypassed. Obviously, it will be a contradiction to say that absolute attack can bypass the defense and absolute defense can bypass the attack. The point is that the abilities wouldn't work against each other. It's only a contradiction if we were to assume the faulty assumption two abilities are true in the same context. Obviously, they're not. So it's either true that the ability the character has is actual absolute defense, or the ability itself is just wrong. And again, to go with your other burden, stop. To go with your other burden, you'd have to prove and give the reason or the motivation for why we would take that wiki to be indexed with the fiction.
I mean, like, I don't have to do that anymore. Because, look, I mean, you've just been talking for ages and you haven't answered the question. So, look, the question that I asked you initially was, if I show you an instance, right, in the series of a character defending themselves against this technique, is that no contradiction? And then what did you say? You said two things. The first thing you said was, well, you can't show me this because it doesn't happen. And then the second thing you said was, yeah, it would be a contradiction. And then I do a quick Google search and I find out that the character that you're speaking of has a long and very drawn out fight against Battler. I'm pretty sure Battler wins this fight against her, right? And I bring up the wiki, which says, "Oh wait, in order to
Do
defend
you have
yourself
a
against these, like,
scan?
stop,
Do you
stop,
have
stop,
a
stop,
scan?
stop. You were just
Don't.
complaining about me cutting you
I
off.
don't think
And I
you're
was going to
understanding
clarify.
bullshit.
Sorry, you were just complaining about me cutting you off, and I was trying to clarify that you were not answering the question. And now you're trying to cut me off to add another burden, another non-existent
I'm not
mythical
adding
burden.
another
I
burden.
don't need to breathe. So just stop and wait till I'm
I'm
done.
informing you of
So
the same burden.
then you told me, sorry. So the first thing you said was, if there's an instance in the series where a character is able to defend against the attack, then it's a contradiction, simply put, right? And I said, okay, cool. And then as I start searching, you start realizing, oh shit, wait, there probably are many instances of characters defending against his attack. And so you decide to hedge. And what you say instead is,
Not hedging.
oh, sorry, stop. And we decide to say instead is, oh, well, actually, if a character has like an absolute defensive ability, then it's the case that, the
That's
ability to work.
that's still a
So,
commitment.
okay, look, can we get moderation? I'm not going to sit here and let this guy talk. Stopped. And he just keeps fucking going. I don't know what's wrong with him. Anyways, what I was trying to say was, he then decides to hedge, and he changes his claim to any attack, any defensive ability, any evasive maneuver that's employed to avoid the attack doesn't work, to only the sorts of maneuvers that do not have an absolute quality fail to work or fail to be established. Gojo has an absolute defensive ability.
Get your faggot ass off.
Anyways, Gojo has an absolute defensive ability, like in its raw form. These guys like Battler fighting against Illinois. I can say that that's all I really wanted to say. That you hedged your claim because you realized what you were saying was kind of ratty and wrong. And I'll say in the Scanza.
Okay, you can mute him too. I don't know why.
I'm not going to interrupt.
No. You just interrupted. Mute him.
What?
Thank you, dumbass bitch. Okay, dumbass. The second part of the argument, or the second burden, or the second point I brought up, is not a non-commitment to the idea that the ability actually there's no actual showing of the fucking character, like his ability just not working. Okay, obviously, if we have absolute defense and absolute attack work within the same context, that would be a contradiction. The point is that they can't work on either of each other. Obviously, if they work, that would lead into a contradiction. What's in question is whether or not the wiki can be taken to be true the same way as the substance I sent in chat. Now, obviously, you're saying the instances in particular, which is the fact that there's a wiki, there's the wiki as X. Why should we take X to be true in accordance to the evidence I sent in chat? You aren't proving that. That's the burden you have to prove. It's not a hedge. It's a commitment I still can share index of the other burden I placed upon you. The burden still works, bro. We're not really getting past that. And you can prove the Gojo point. I even hear what you said about the Gojo point, but just repeat it. And please do not mute.
Hello?
So don't mute people.
Wait, hold on, stop. Look, I mean, I wasn't gonna interrupt you because I have manners, but now we have to do this little talking stick thing because you wanted me to be muted. So look, I mean, just to respond to the first thing he said, he was like, I need to prove that the wiki corresponds to what he was saying in the scan or what was said in the manga or whatever this is. I mean, look, I don't really have to, right? Because the idea is that you already agree that if there's a character who has an absolute defensive ability, I don't know why he's unmuted, but if you agree that if there's a character with an absolute defensive ability, stop talking. What the fuck? Anyways, this is why I didn't want to talk to this guy, but you already agreed that if there's a character with an absolute defensive ability, that the absolute attacking ability does not work. That's what you agreed to. Pretty blatantly in front of everybody. After saying that the absolute attacking ability was impossible to defend against and impossible to avoid, you now concede that it is possible to defend against, that it is possible to avoid, granted that the character that's being attacked has an absolute defensive ability. So I wanted to point out that concession and make it incredibly clear. Matter of fact, we can stay on this point. We'll move on to all the other points afterwards. If you want to unmute and explain to me how that isn't a concession to the initial point, you can. Go ahead. Arm me up.
Bro, I don't know why the nigga is muting me when I never agreed him as a moderator. Why does he even have perms in this debate? Yo, take his perms, please, Triple. I don't know why I'm being muted when I'm trying to give an argument.
Wait, I'm literally stopping you from aping
No.
out.
Okay,
what is your problem?
Listen, the issue is that I never agreed to you as a moderator. Why are you muting me?
Yeah, I'm muting you both equally. When you say mute him, I muted him.
Okay, no. Listen. Stop. The only reason I said that is because I got muted. I never asked for him to be muted.
No, he got muted first.
No, dumbass. Even if he got muted first, I never asked.
Just debating, bro.
Okay, bro. Stop muting me.
I get it.
See, can you please repeat your point, bro?
Okay, so look, the idea, I'm going to repeat it one more time. This is the point that I just want you to agree that you conceded on, and then we can just move on.
Okay.
Is that when I first asked you about the ability,
Okay.
you told me that it is impossible for the person to defend themselves against it. You said that if there was an instance of a character in the series defending
Impossible in
themselves.
both abilities.
Stop. Like, what the fuck? Anyways, so what you said to me, who's this ISO guy? I mean, as we can debate next. But like what I
It's
was saying was
impossible for
that you
both.
initially said, is he
Nigga,
okay?
it's so dumb, bro.
Do you have something to
Go
say?
ahead. Just go ahead, bro. Just go
Okay,
ahead.
so look, I'll just ask you this question. Is it possible to defend yourself against the absolute attack ability, all things considered?
Okay, you're not getting about point. Oh my god.
That was a question. That
Okay,
wasn't
do
a,
you
you're
know?
not getting
Okay, do you? Okay,
can
question.
we
Wait, bro.
get
Okay,
an
I'm
answer to
answering
the
the question, bro.
I
Stop
want
crying.
I
Do you
want a
know
yes
of the
or no
paradox,
answer
bro?
to the
Chill out, bro.
question.
Do you know
I
of the
want a yes or no
paradox?
answer to the question.
Bro. Do you know the paradox?
I want a yes or
Unstoppable
no answer to the
thing
question.
versus a immovable object.
I want a
Obviously,
yes
if
or
the
no answer
two
to the question.
correspond, they can't correspond to anything because the properties directly are the
Oh
to
my!
each other.
Can I get a yes or no answer to the question?
Obviously, hey, bro, let me talk, bro. I'm not done. You'll never understand the argument. Chill the fuck out. Okay, when we say something is unstoppable, in that frame of reference, we're assuming something cannot be stopped by it. Obviously, if it's unstoppable, you can't stop it. If it's immovable, that thing cannot be moved. If you place those things within the same frame of reference, that would be a P is not P. Yes, that's trivial. But whether or not they're doing that is what's in question. You're not giving the argument for that. You said, or you made the commitment, well, in X article corresponds to the evidence I sent because it's in the actual narrative. You give motivation for that. Where is the scan that character A had that property or had that ability? And they explain it in a way that contravenes the initial substance, where the character obviously has absolute attack and absolute defense. If they work, it's a contradiction. The character does not actually have that ability, and the ability can be bypassed. Contradictions don't happen. That's trivial. But whether or not it's actually in the actual verse itself, it's what's in question. Give an argument for that. If I go on Wikipedia and say Goku is not boundless or universal, we have X motivation. Motivation is index of the actual source material Goku comes from. Then obviously you can make the commitment or claim that Goku is X due to X being a part of the relevant data set you have to predicate X off of. But when you make the commitment that well X is not itself because of Y, which obviously Y is not within that data set, we cannot say Y and X are applicable. They're two different data sets. That's retarded. You cannot make a claim
my
and say
God.
that on Wikipedia claim it's applicable to Dragon Ball. Those are two different things. So given
You're an
the
idiot.
I
priors,
just got here,
You're
Careless.
an idiot. So
given the
look, let's
priors,
just
given the
summarize.
stop crying.
Okay, can we get moderation after this, please? He's like an idiot.
No, I'm not done. We're doing fine without moderation, bro. Chill out.
Hurry up.
Chill out, bro.
You've
Given
been
the
rambling
priors.
the whole time.
Stop. Given the priors, we can expect that a fictional model, where we're actually in reference to the actual original data set, the source itself is distinct from a model that's secondhand to the first hand.
Oh my
Obviously,
God.
the second hand is not a part of the first hand. Give a counter argument.
Okay, so look, I mean, that was a bunch of gibberish. He's obviously using these words to try and sound more intelligent than he actually is. Let's just get a yes or no answer to the initial question that I asked you 5 minutes before you started to ramble. The question that I asked you was, is it possible to defend against the red key, all things considered? And that's a yes or no question.
You want to conclude?
He's not going to answer the question?
I think I already did. Do you want to conclude?
Okay, no, I don't want to conclude. I'm going to send these scans. So
Oh,
another thing that he said.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Send evidence, dumbass. You're ass. Thank you for conceding. There's evidence.
Can we get some moderation?
You can't wheeze your way out of it. You're gonna get raped. You're getting butt fucked.
Can we get some moderation?
He tried to run away, and now I got the
Can we
evidence.
get some moderation?
Now I got the evidence.
Can we get some moderation?
My nigga. Like, bro, he's so. Oh my god.
Can we get some moderation?
Like, you said the most trivial
What the fuck
truth
is
that I've
going
ever
on?
heard in my life. Obviously, an unstoppable object.
Can we get some moderation? Like, the fuck? Look, he's so excited. I asked him a simple question.
By the way, Tron muted him, not me.
Yeah, thank you. So, like, he brought up the example of, like, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. That is just a contradiction. So, if you grant that it is impossible for an unstoppable force to move an immovable object, right, then you grant that it is possible for there to be some object, right, at least if we're talking about in like some non-contradictory sense, you would grant that if this is fiction and these fictional contradictions can exist in this fictional narrative, you would grant that it is possible within the fictional narrative for there to be some object that the unstoppable force cannot move, i.e. the immovable object. Maybe it can't exist in reality because it's a contradiction, but it can exist in the fictional narrative if we allow contradictions to exist. And that's what I was trying to say. Initially, you were trying to make it seem as if any concept, anything that tried to defend against this object or tried to defend against this red key would be overridden, would be overpowered. And now it sounds like you're ceding ground a bit and allowing the possibility within the fictional narrative of there to be some paradoxical like situation in which the unstoppable force, aka the red key, is countered. Can we get a mute again? Because I wasn't done responding to
I'm
a lot.
not done. I'm not. Why am
No,
I? Why am I
no.
muted?
No, I was mid-sentence. I don't care.
I'm not cutting
So
you off.
look,
Though.
stop. So look, another thing that he said is that I have to prove that, you know, the Wikipedia article that I sent corresponds to the scans that he was saying. And I was doing that. I mean, I'm on phone. It takes me a while to get these scans, but I'm just gonna get all of the scans now. I have them all saved up. All I was trying to demonstrate with the Wikipedia article was that it is possible to defend against red key, and I have the scans from the series, right? Not just this extract from this random source. I don't know where I have this Echo manga panel that shows what I'm saying. Can we get? I'm not gonna debate here if he gets unmuted again. When I get muted, I don't get unmuted. Like, this is fucking stupid. Anyway, so we're gonna look at all of these 4 scans. Okay, I read all of them in Echo. I'm really, really knowledgeable on this series. Okay, so the first scan explains truths, right? So it says stuff like you can only defeat the blue truth with the red truth, for example, right? So it says you can counter truths. The second scan talks about the red truth. It says that everything that you say in the red truth is just truth, right? There's no need to deny the truth. And then it also explains that you can't lie with the red truth, right? So anything you say in the red truth is just the truth. That's why it's undoubtable. The red just makes that clear. And then it shows a scan of Delanor, whatever her name is, fighting against Beatrice, right? So she's fighting against Beatrice, and Delanor herself says that her ability is just an application of the red truth. It says, if a truth is granted...
Can you repeat the claim?
Stop. Now you want me to repeat the points. Now you want to stop saying, oh, you're so ass, see? You can't debate, see? You want to repeat the points. I'm repeating shit for you, bitch. I asked you to repeat the
That's why you can't
debate. What did you say? No. What did he say when I asked him to repeat the question or answer the question? He said, I think I already answered that, see? I want to conclude now. And now you want to sit here and say, can I repeat the argument? I'm not repeating shit for you. Anyways, Delanor herself says it's an application of the red truth. She says, if a truth has been granted, I can wield the red key in response to matters that relate to the truth that has been granted. So the red key is not her saying, look, I can make anything I say true. I can deny any fact about anything's existence. I can deny concepts. I can do this. I can do that. That's not what's being said. What's being said is actually that if something is already true, right, using the red key, she can make this thing within the context of the debate in Umineko, she can make this thing valid. That's why when she's fighting against what's her face, Beatrice, she's like, such potion doesn't exist, it can't exist, and she's using the red key, right? She's making those truths apparent within the context of their battle. That's what the red key does. It establishes these truths and it establishes the applications and the entailments of those truths. And so it's limited by the red truth, right? Meaning that it's not what you were saying.
Okay, can you mute him, please? No. Put him on mute. Thank you very much. Okay, so do you think the red truth and the red key are the same entities? Like when we utter red truth and red key, do you think they're being used in the same respective context, supplementary to the scans you sent? Like obviously the red key descriptively, and it's expected to be different because, well, one, they never utter red key in the scan you sent. Additionally, red key and red truth are 2 different things, semantically speaking. So I would like the explanation or evidence for why, when we say red key and red truth, they're just the same in reference. Give an argument for that.
You muted him. Fuck.
You can unmute him.
Wait,
Well,
sorry to be. I don't want to interrupt, but
I don't want talking stick. Like this is like I don't want to do this.
Wait, who are you using, Careless?
I'm using Delanor. He's saying that like the character like ability gets contradicted. I don't see the character.
Is it from Umineko?
Yeah.
W nigga.
We're not having.
I haven't been here for long. So wait, who does C have? And yo, see, it's been a minute.
He has Gojo.
This nigga's a troll. See, you're a fucking troll.
Yeah, but I'll just put my argument or like what I want him to prove in chat. C, you need to prove.
You're unmuted, by the way. C, you're like not serving me the name.
Because the scan never says red key. It just has it in red. I mean, I don't really
Oh,
know
I'm on
that
mute.
definition.
Okay, look, if he
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thinks that the argument that I was offering was that the red truth and the red key are coextensional, then we can just wrap up the debate here.
You
Right?
said what?
What was I saying?
You said
No,
what?
no, Tron, I was looking for scans. I was just like scrolling through. But look, if you think that the argument that I offered was that the red truth and the red key, right, are coextensional, then you're completely fucking confused, and we can wrap this up here.
Oh, okay. Or I'll just reaffirm my view again because you're retarded. Okay, so obviously the contradiction is that if the ability gets contradicted by X, then we should not say X is of that utmost importance. Obviously, it's contradicted. The ability's description is invalid because the attack can get bypassed. It can't be stopped. It can't be defended against. Obviously, that's true. Corresponding back to the paradox point I made, well that point is trivial because obviously you're saying it gets contradicted. Now, index to the evidence that's supplementary to the claim, you said that the red key it's being contradicted. Obviously, the weapon that D. Lenore uses. Now, once in your argument that I ever hear you mention D. Lenore using X and then
Yo,
X
see,
being
add me back. This shit
bypassed,
cringe.
you never sent the argument for that. You never gave an actual scan for that. And if we analyze your scan, it's expected that when they say red, they're only indexed to red. We don't know if we don't know if red key and red, like when the sentence is in red, are analytically the same. I think it's expected they're two different entities because semantically they're different. If they're semantically different, then what's the evidence or motivation for the red key being the same as the red truth, or rather, sentences being in red?
Yeah, you're an idiot. I never said that.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait, stop. So upon that, I like argument for why they are descriptively the same. You simply just seeing if they stop. Oh, if they're not the same, then you just lost. I don't know what else you lost.
So look, the last thing that I want to bring to the audience's attention, or the two things I want to bring to the audience's attention is one, my interpretation of the scan is that the red key does work in the way that it says it works, just within the bounds of the red truth, right? So like the idea is that
you said what?
The red key, the idea is that the red key can deny these concepts, it can deny things, as long as those denials are actually true, and that would explain all of the data, right? It's like when Delano is in her fight with Beatrice and she says stuff like, such a potion does not exist, and she's using the red key. That's just her using the red key to deny concepts that are true in virtue of the red truth. And since it's bound by the red truth, in this scan I just sent, where it says, one that even the red truth cannot pass through, what is this golden truth, right? Like that idea just shows that if there's an ability that's just an application of the red truth, and this ability, given that it's an application of the red truth, is something that is below the golden truth, then I've given you an example within series of something that the red key should not be able to bypass.
I ain't lie, I ain't hear what you. I look you spit. You gotta repeat this, Michael Liber.
You want me to repeat myself again?
Yeah. Okay. Wait. No, I picked up parts of the argument. Okay. Are you saying that?
Please, bro, this is painful.
Wait, Tron.
Beatrice uses the ability, and it's synonymous with the red truth because of its application.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's synonymous. You're like confused.
Okay. No, I'm just confused because it's not Beatrice's weapon, so that would be a.
It doesn't matter what it is.
No, it does matter because it's, bro. You're not getting my point. If it's not her weapon, the fucking scan literally says it's her weapon, so it would be expected that in all or in most cases when she uses the weapon, we're specifically in reference to D. Lenore. So I don't know what you're talking about. And again, okay, do you think a third person objective statement is the same as a third person omniscient or third person limited?
I don't understand what's being said. I mean, look.
Okay, so there's okay. It's just basic shit. Do you think a narrator statement is different than a narrator giving a statement through another character?
Yeah, wrap it up, bro. C1.
So if what you're asking me is like, is that?
Oh, I made Careless.
If what you're asking me is like, is a statement from the narrator different from a statement from a character? I mean, different in what sense? The same person's right.
Okay, I'll clarify the semantics to elaborate. So a third person objective statement is rather a statement that's descriptive of reality itself or descriptive of things that are descriptive of things that are inside of the reality verse. A third person omniscient or limited is rather a narrator giving his thoughts indexed for their own personal experiences or subjective opinions. Obviously, an omniscient one is covering the main character's thoughts.
Yeah, but how do
all other characters?
Nah, wrap it up. Careless one.
Hold on, I'm confused.
So wait.
Both statements are made by the narrator.
Cannot talk.
Both statements are made by the narrator.
There can be unreliable narrators though.
But it's the same narrator. You think the narrator's unreliable?
No, they're not the same. They're analytically different. The whole point is that an objective one
What?
is something that's not.
Who writes Umineko? Is it one person or many people?
Oh my God. The author writes Umineko.
Okay, so it's one author. You're saying that the one author writes Umineko, so they write all of the statements. So when you say there's an unreliable narrator, you're saying the author of Umineko is unreliable.
I'm saying the statements a character is making can be unreliable.
Can be unreliable.
Especially if the expectancy of those statements are not tested to be reliable. It's simply possible that the statements they're making can be false or wrong. When I say it's stop, chill out. When I say it's a third person objective statement, I'm saying the statement is not subject to the same, like, I don't know, imperatives or limitations. A character just making a statement in reverse. Like, for example, I don't think they're the same. I'm simply just trying to say that given this description, I don't see how anything in the scan is just analytically the same as the red key, and how the red truth and the red key correspond in definition.
Me either.
Yeah, that's not the claim that I'm making for maybe like the last time.
Okay.
Like the idea.
So you're not saying, but if you're not saying they're the same, we could just move on.
Yeah,
I mean, like the idea is pretty simple. It's just that Battler is able to counter the red key.
You're not getting my point. You have to prove that's the red key.
Oh God.
Library, nigga. Why you listening to this shit at the library? Fuck.
Yeah. You have to prove that's the red key being used. All you said is that it's the red key because the scan says it's saying something in the scan. You never actually gave that. You never gave the actual argument for why X character, when he makes this claim, it will be expected that it's the red key.
It would be expected.
You shut up to infinity. What the fuck? This whole fucking VC cringe.
Then leave, nigga. The fuck?
Then leave.
Nigga, Dick Rider. Ain't gonna lie. That shit corny as hell. Fuck on my VC random. Anyways,
hey,
Careless versus T. Y'all can continue.
Like it's the red key with the scan where she stabs him with the red key. But I mean, after this we can conclude. I think you're pretty confused on everything.
Okay.
Don't know who the fuck that nigga was feeling like.
So like,
Anywho's
the red key, right? I'm gonna send it to you right now. Also, we can just get everyone else to read Umineko, because I'll be humble enough to say I have not read Umineko. But like you would say this is the red
I haven't read
key,
it either.
Right? Stop. You would say that this is the red key. Anybody that has read Umineko.
Bro, I don't care. I don't care. Get the argument, bro. Chill out, bro.
Anyways, yeah, we can conclude. If that was your response to everything I just said, we conclude. Actually, no, one more question. Do you think Dylan is an unreliable narrator?
You said what?
Do you think Dylan is an unreliable narrator?
Okay, what's in question is whether or not we know who's using the red key. Additionally, given the description of what the red key is, it's expected in almost every instance or uses of it, when someone is using the red key, it's probably Lenore because it's her weapon. It's her primary weapon. And I want you to prove that she's using the red key in the scan you sent. And in the verse and in the explanation just given to us via the characters, they explain it the exact same way. You aren't doing that.
When she's talking about the powers of the red key, she's holding the same sword.
Wait, yeah, I prove that.
Let me show.
I'm pretty sure it's the key, not a sword game. I don't know where you got that argument from, but yeah.
Why can't keys be swords?
Because keys are the whole point of a sword is supposed to, okay, do you know what a sword looks like?
I don't think it's like an objective appearance for a sword.
Okay, you're retarded. So you think a key could be a sword?
Like imagine, for example, there's like a key. It's like Infinity's Kingdom, and that key needs a sword, right? Like it would still be a key, just a sword-shaped key.
So you're saying, okay. Are you saying the purposes are the exact same?
If you think that's what I said, you're confused.
No, I'm not saying that. Okay,
but yeah, just look at the scan I sent, right? They're talking about the red key. They say, no, are your powers completely useless without the detective authority? No, the red key, and then they show the same fucking weapon, is actually a conceptual weapon which denies the existence of its targets and is itself close to the red truth. Then Battler says, what do you mean by a truth?
You don't fucked up.
And then Lenore says, if a truth is granted, I can build the red key in response to matters that relate to the truth.
You don't fucked up.
So
the argument is that the red key and the red truth are the exact same, and then there's instances in the verse where people counter the red truth, or my fault, the red key.
Let's conclude, please. You're completely lost.
I'm not. I'm saying, by the way,
I've said my argument like 3 times, and you're ratting.
This proves that the red key and the red truth aren't the same entities. Because
that's not what I was saying.
Chill out, bro. I wasn't done. Why are you cutting me off?
No, but he okay.
Why
look,
are
Tron,
you cutting me off?
Tron, he's making an
I
argument
wasn't
that's
done.
unrelated to what I'm saying. I don't
Okay,
care.
you can think it's
Look,
unrelated.
I'll
I'm giving an
announce it
argument.
now.
I'm
The
literally
red
giving an
key
argument.
and look, I'll say right now, the
Wait,
red key
see, try like, bro.
are distinct entities.
See, try
I
like,
agree
he's
to this.
complaining when I cut him off.
Look,
And
I
then
agree to
doesn't
that.
let me give an actual
Don't make this
argument.
argument. Don't make the argument about the red key and the red truth are different. I agree that they're different.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay, look,
If
speak.
you
But
agree,
if you
the
say
red
that the
truth and
argument,
the
so
bro, stop. This is
wait,
why.
let me make this clear.
Wait, stop. Okay. If he agrees with that, can I
Let me make this
finish
clear.
talking?
Let me make this clear. Let me make this
No.
clear.
You,
Let me make this clear. Let me
I
just make
want
this
to
clear.
respond to the other claims you
Let me make
made.
this clear. Let me just make this
I
clear.
want to respond to the
If
other
he
claims you
makes an
made. Let me
argument,
finish.
bro, if he makes an argument about the red key and the red truth being different, then we're concluding forced, right? Because it's fucking boring. He said the same shit
Exact
for 5
same
minutes.
thing. Bro, you do the exact same thing. Why are you crying? Okay, dumbass bitch. Let me get the fucking argument. Stop being a retard. Okay? So let's read the evidence. Okay, you sent this evidence in prompt in response to when I asked you, do they explain the red key and the red truth synonymously? You said they do explain the red key and the red truth synonymously. If we read your scan, it says, no, the red key is an actual conceptual weapon which denies the existence of targets in itself is close to the red truth.
Shut up,
You
bitch.
said, wait, stop. You said that characters bypass the red key or bypass the concept I'm specifically indexed to. You then showed, I assume that's a character using the red key because you think that's synonymous with the red key. Obviously, you already granted they're not the same. If they're not the same, why would that character, whatever ability, whatever hacks they have in that specific scan, why would that be the red key? If obviously the red truth is when things are being written in red, and when the red key is just a conceptual ability that can negate concepts. If they are not the exact same thing, then how are you proving that she's using the red key? If they're not the same. Obviously, if they're not the same, the effects they have upon reality aren't the exact same.
Let's conclude.
Okay, let's conclude.
All right, cool. Look, I mean, this was really embarrassing. In conclusion, the argument was not that the red key and the red truth is the same thing. I think I repeated to Careless like maybe 9 times. Look, man, I'm not saying these things are the same. I'm not saying that they're coextensive. As a matter of fact, I even wrote in chat for Tron, right, before he went on this stupid retarded monologue. I said, I agree. Stop. I said, I agree that the red key and the red truth are distinct entities. Right before he made an argument, stop. Right before he made an argument for why the red key and the red truth are distinct entities. I already agreed to this. You're wasting everybody's time. The argument that was being laid forth was this. The red key is an application of the red truth. Right? In the scan that was sent, he conveniently... Stop. Can we mute the guy? Like, what the fuck? In the scan that was sent, he conveniently missed the bit that I read out. Bruh. Anyways, look, in the scan that I sent, he conveniently missed the part where it says, if a truth is granted, I can wield the key in response to matters that relate to the truth that has been granted. Right? So when it says it is close to the red truth and it's related to the red truth, and she can wield it in response to truths that have been granted, that interpretation, the idea behind that statement is that if a truth has been granted already, then she can deny concepts that are related to the truth that's been granted. And that's why in her fight with Beatrice, she says stuff like, you know, there is no such potion that exists, X, Y, Z, right? The reason why she says these things is because those are truths that have already been granted by the red truth. And so now she can deny them in the course of the debate against Beatrice. I also sent a scan that he just didn't respond to, where it talks about the red truth.
I ain't gonna lie, nigga, you lost. Hey, Careless, bro. Go, please conclude, bro.
Alright, this nigga's a dumbass. Okay, so stop, bro.
You weren't there.
Infinity,
you weren't there, bro.
Oh my god.
I wasn't done. Can we get like moderators or something?
Just let him go. I thought he was.
I wasn't done.
My bad. I didn't know that you were not done.
So, look, what I was
Kel, now that we have moderation, do you want to debate? Because I know you can hear me, by the way.
Not right now. I'm not even home.
Not right now, but you just say nothing about you, though. What's up with this?
You didn't say anything about me.
Well, now I am, so do you want...
Yo, chill out freaking out. I don't know why this nigga's freaking out. Chill out.
Can I just conclude?
No, I wasn't done. Hello? I mean, I also sent a scan.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You're done. Let him finish with the ramble.
Yeah, I also sent a scan. I also sent a scan that shows that the red truth is below the golden truth that Battler uses to overpower Delano. So I send that scan. He didn't respond to that scan.
Fucking colors
The
be
golden
above
truth is
you.
above the red truth. So the argument is just that the golden truth is above the red truth, and the red key is below the red truth insofar as it can only deny concepts that have been granted as true or false by the red truth. Right, so they're not the same thing. They're completely different things. But the red key is related to the red truth in such a way that if something has not been granted to be true by the red truth, that concept cannot be denied by the red key. And so, since there is an instance where the red truth is countered, and the law, whatever her name is also countered, it just follows kind of simply that what he was saying was wrong. So that was the argument. Thanks.
Okay.
You wanted to interrupt us to finish saying that.
Okay. All right. So
Nigga,
we go off
their
of, like,
discussion.
if we go off of the first couple of
Shut your
points that were
bitch ass
made.
up, Claude.
He initially said
Shut
the
your
red
bitch
key
ass up, you
itself is
Jersey greasy
contradicted.
big bitch.
I
What you
smack the
talking
shit out
about?
of you,
Chill
ugly
out,
ass
chill out,
Y'all
nigga.
chill out,
smack the
chill
shit
out.
out your grandma
Wait,
and
bro,
fuck your
chill
auntie.
out,
And I
bro.
fuck
Can
the
I
shit out
get
your
my
mom in
conclusion?
front of you.
Nigga,
Nigga, suck
Careless,
my
don't nobody
dick
care
and
about
eat
your
your
ass
pussy.
debate. Nigga, you better delete this recording and
Bro,
start
hey,
deleting and come
Careless, go
back
ahead,
later.
conclude real quick. Hey, Careless, what were you
Can I
saying?
get my excuse? Can I chill out? Okay, so in accordance to the first couple prompts of the debate, I specifically said the red key can deny conceptual things or conceptual ideas, etc., etc. He said, well, no, that gets contradicted. Try to give a wiki argument in response to that. That's retarded. So I then said, well, do you have any actual evidence and actual literature that's firsthand that directly contradicts what I said? He doesn't send the actual evidence. He just tries to send a scan that directly concedes to the fact that the red key and the red truth are two distinct things. He then makes the claim that, well, Lenore uses X, and then when she uses X, that is the red key. Well, if the red truth and the red key, and all the red truth is when sentences are being written in red, it means that or it means this. And the red key is distinct in description, obviously in application, because in this case, the things that the abilities being applied to just can't be affected or can't bypass the red key. Then it would just not follow if obviously the red truth and the red key are just analytically different. You can't try to use the red truth to debunk the red key when the red key and the red truth are two different entities. If they're two different entities, then the effect they have probably aren't the exact same, which is probably evident to why people can bypass the red truth, but not the red key. You then try this in the scan. You say she's using the red key. What's in question is whether or not that's the red key. You never gave an actual argument for that. You just repeated the same basis. Simple as that.
Bro, yo, W Careless, bro. All right, look, so since y'all are done debating, AC, what topic are we doing, man? We were supposed to debate, but we never did. We can now
I'll
challenge
debate you if you're stripped.